Think back to when you were 5 years old. You could learn a new language by accident. You could master a musical instrument just by playing. Your brain was like wet clay, impressionable, soft, and infinitely adaptable. But then something happens. Around the age of 25 to 30, that clay begins to bake. It hardens. The effortless learning of your youth is replaced by a mental fog, a resistance to new ideas, and the feeling that your brain is simply full. Most people believe that after 30, your cognitive peak is behind you, that from here on out, it's a slow, inevitable decline into senior moments and forgotten names. But what if the hardening of your brain isn't a life sentence? What if it's actually a biological feature, a security lock that you can learn to pick? Today, we're exploring the dark side of myelination, the myth of the adult brain, and the single plasticity habit that can force your brain to stay young forever. To fix the problem, we first have to understand why it's happening. Evolution doesn't care about your self-improvement. Evolution cares about efficiency. Between birth and age 25, your brain is in a state of hyperplasticity. It's trying to map the world. But mapping is expensive. It costs massive amounts of glucose and energy. Once you hit 30, your brain assumes you know enough to survive. It starts a process called synaptic pruning. It cuts away the weak connections and reinforces the strong ones with a substance called myelin. Think of myelin as the insulation on your brain's wiring. It makes your current habits lightning fast, but it makes changing those habits, or learning new ones, feel like trying to swim through wet concrete. But there is a second, more psychological reason why the adult brain stops adapting. It's called the social safety bias. As children, we are designed to be wrong. Every time a child falls or mispronounces a word, their brain is flooded with a chemical called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine acts like a highlighter for the brain. It marks the specific neural circuits that led to a mistake and tells the brain, "Pay attention here. This needs to change." As adults, we've learned to fear that feeling. We interpret the heat of frustration or the embarrassment of a mistake as a sign that we are bad at something. So we stop. We stay within our comfort zones. By avoiding the sting of error, we are essentially turning off the highlighter. Without acetylcholine, your brain has no reason to break down its old myelin. You aren't just not learning. You are actively telling your brain to stay stagnant. For decades, scientists thought this was a one-way street. They thought once the myelin was set, the map was finished. They were wrong. In the late 90s, researchers discovered a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists call it miracle grow for the brain. BDNF does something incredible. It lowers the resistance of those hardened pathways. It makes the clay wet again. It allows for neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons in the hippocampus. The question is, how do we trigger BDNF? And more importantly, how do we use it to reverse the 30-year-old plateau? Most people tell you to do Sudoku or crossword puzzles to stay sharp. But that's a trap. If you're already good at crosswords, you're just reinforcing myelin. You aren't building anything new. The habit that actually reverses aging is called aerobic novelty. It is the combination of high-intensity physical movement and a high-complexity cognitive task. When you perform high-intensity exercise, your body floods the brain with BDNF. But that BDNF only stays in the system for a short window, about 20 to 60 minutes. If you exercise and then just sit on the couch, that BDNF goes to waste. The plasticity habit is to perform your hardest learning task. That language, that code, that difficult book, immediately after a workout. You are literally painting new information onto a brain that has been chemically primed to accept it. This is how you work 4 hours in 60 minutes, and how you learn in your 40s like you did in your teens. We can see the power of the plasticity habit in a group of people scientists call super-agers. These are individuals in their 70s and 80s whose memory and cognitive speed are identical to those of 25-year-olds. When researchers at Harvard scanned their brains, they found something shocking. The super-agers didn't have a perfect genetic code. Instead, they had significantly thicker cingulate cortices, the area of the brain responsible for persisting through difficult tasks. The common thread among these people, they were lifelong strugglers. They didn't just walk for exercise, they learned new, complex movements. They didn't just read, they debated. They kept the clay wet by constantly exposing themselves to the frustration of the unknown. The super-ager study proves that cognitive decline isn't a destiny. It's a choice made by the habits we keep. If you use the Aerobic Novelty protocol, you aren't just slowing down aging, you are technically rewiring your biology to a younger state. There is one final ingredient. To wake up the adult brain, you must embrace episodic failure. In childhood, we don't care about failing. But as adults, our social safety system makes us hate it. Neuroscience shows that the feeling of frustration, that heat in your face when you get something wrong, is the exact moment the brain releases acetylcholine. If you don't feel frustrated, you aren't learning. Your brain isn't broken. It's just waiting for a reason to change. Give it the movement, give it the novelty, and most importantly, give it the permission to fail. I'm Novalu, and this is the science of a better you.